What is up, YouTube? Day 13, monk mode. I prayed the most dangerous prayer of my life this past week. So dangerous, I don't even want to say the words out loud, even though I already prayed it. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a second. Let me give you an update on where I am with my goals. So I've been eating rice and beans consistently for the last 5 months, and I'm ready to take a break. So I'm actually going to be doing some meal prepping with lots of meat and vegetables and some potatoes. And then I'm going to be cutting out all sugar except for fresh fruit. That's even honey. I tend to eat artificial sweeteners like stevia and Diet Coke because I enjoy Coke Zero and stuff like that, and it doesn't mess with me. That's a whole nother health discussion in the future. But I know for sure that sugar makes me feel bloated, makes me keep my weight on. And by cutting out sugars for a few weeks, I'm going to feel a lot better. I'm going to drop a couple pounds. I'm going to continue to be motivated to eat clean. And that's what I'm doing. So on that front, feeling really good. On the other front, making these YouTube videos, reaching out to pastors. I have some meetings set up for next week so I can start to hear more of what young men need help with. But let's jump right into the content of this video. This past Thursday, I went to that young adult group and I kind of told part A of that story with the girl who I was talking with, and I'm in monk mode, so I'm asking her out, yada, yada. But there was a part B to this story that happened when I got home. During this part B, I was driving home and I was just thinking about times I'd asked girls out in the past, and I noticed a pattern. You ready for this? I noticed that I normally ask out really attractive girls. I know, okay. Every guy ever, right? You want to be with the beautiful girl. And I know beauty is eye of the beholder, blah, blah, blah. But some people look nicer than others, generally speaking. That being said, I felt really challenged in my spirit once I recognized that, because I'd been listening to a sermon a few weeks ago with one of my favorite speakers, Jonathan Pokluda. And he talks a lot about dating. And at one point he was sharing how he was talking with a friend about dating. And he challenged his friend. He said, godliness should be so important to you and your future spouse, really just in how you judge people in general, that if a girl is really godly, the most godly person that you know, and you want to be married, she should be the person that you ask out. And he's like, his friend is like, what happens if I'm not attracted to her? What happens if she's really not that pretty? And Jonathan said, all the same, you still should ask her out. She should be the one that you pursue. And if not her, then the second most godly person you know. And then the third most godly young lady you know. And the fourth, and so on and so forth. And that is like a really controversial, bold statement to say. Because for a lot of people, we have looks and like attraction, at least somewhere in our top 5, a lot of times top 3, honestly, for parameters when we're looking for a partner. So I was thinking about what Jonathan said, and it really challenged me, it really struck me, because it's true. And I thought back to the story in the Bible with David, where Samuel came to the house of Jesse, and there were all of Jesse's sons lined up, right, from oldest to youngest. And God said, it's going to be one of Jesse's sons I'm going to have you anoint as the future king of Israel, of this country. And the first and oldest stepped up. He looks good. He's strong. He's got that oldest sibling swagger. And God's like, not him. Then the second oldest sibling steps up. He's tall. He's strong. He probably is really smart, really competitive, always competing with that older sibling. And God's like, not him. Then the third steps up, not him. The fourth, not him. The fifth, not him. All these sons step up that look like king material, and God says no. And then David, he doesn't even run in. His father says to one of the boys, like, go fetch David, who's taking care of the sheep. David was a shepherd, and shepherds was like a low status job in that time. I mean, you're like taking care of the animals in the wilderness by yourself. It's almost like being ostracized or being like sent out in the wilderness. And then on top of that, you're taking care of like, frankly, like gross animals, and you're just like living by yourself under the stars. Like it's not great. So they go call David in, who's like low status, and he's the youngest. And as soon as he walks in, God's like, yes, this kid. And Samuel goes forth and anoints him as the future king of Israel. And, Samuel is having this internal dialogue during the story. He's like, well, it doesn't look like king material. And God says, man judges on the outside, God judges the heart. And it struck me when I heard this Jonathan Pokluda story, because that is how God judges people. He judges people based on the content of their character, on their heart, not on what they look like on the outside, not on their status, not on what appears to be good to man. And I thought to myself, man, if I really want to be Christ-like, I need to have a heart that judges women based on the content of their character, based on their heart and godliness. And then I realized that I couldn't do that on my own. Like, I'm attracted to pretty girls who love the Lord, but I'm not really attracted to non-attractive girls, even if they are really godly. I like the godliness in them, but it's like, if I could choose, I'd want to be with a more pretty girl. And then this thought came in my head. I need to ask God to change my heart. As soon as I thought that, I said, no way, Jose. I do not want to be going out with girls who are less pretty. Frankly, like, that's what my first impulse was. But as I thought on that, and I'm walking, at this point, I'm at my house, and I'm walking to the doorstep of our apartment, my roommate and I's apartment. And I'm about to turn the key in the lock to get in the building. And I realized, like, man, I love Jesus so much. I looked up at the sky, actually, and I said, I love you so freaking much, God. And I got down on my knees and I prayed that prayer. I said, God, change my heart so that what's attractive to you is attractive to me. Did not feel amazing in the moment, but at the same time, like, there was this relief, like, God has to do it. I can't make myself be attracted to godly women. That's something he's going to have to stir up inside of me. He's going to have to change my heart so I don't act in my natural, really fleshly ways, and instead trade in my heart of stone for a heart of flesh, and be more like Christ and God in that regard. So yeah, I know it's a long story, but like a powerful prayer and a powerful experience for myself. And that leads into my challenge. As a man, what are you attracted to in a woman? Like, what would you truly put as your number one? And is that what your heart is drawn to? And if it is looks or anything else, it could be personality. Guys, it's typically looks for guys, but if it's literally anything else except godliness, and you're a follower of Jesus, why is that? Maybe you haven't prayed this prayer. Maybe you really haven't surrendered that part of your heart to the Lord. And I'm challenging you to do that. I'm challenging you because godliness always returns on investment. Whenever you pursue the Lord, whenever you put him as number one, you're never disappointed. He always follows through with things so much better than you can imagine. And your ideal and your idea of best does not compare to his version of best for your life, for my life. And that's why I'm on this journey. Monk Mode isn't about Hudson trying to make Hudson better. It's about God working in my life as I submit myself to him to grow. That's why we're on this journey together. So, controversial challenge, challenging challenge, but pray that hardest prayer. Maybe it'll be the hardest prayer you've prayed in your life. I challenge you to pause this video right now and do it. And see what God will do with your life. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Peace.